So here we have our lens. If we lift it up, there we're looking through it. And if we tip it to one side, you can see fungus in the inside back element, or one of the inside back elements. So we're going to take this apart and try and fix it, which should be fun. So here's a list of the stuff that we'll need to do this project, and I can tell you it was quite fun getting the ammonia and the hydrogen peroxide and wondering whether I was going to get reported for making a bomb. But anyway, yes, so we ripped into pulling it apart, and this was the easy bit. Okay, so there's some sort of ribbon cable, and it started getting harder as soon as I got those 4 screws out. So eventually I figured out that I had to pull out the ribbons to get the rest of it up there, and then it was just 1 screw and I could lift the whole back of the lens off. So then there's 3 screws to get the rear adjustment out, and I dropped a screw down into the lens. Yes, that was a very clever thing to do. Fortunately, it came straight back out again, and yes, you can see that the lens filter on that is disgustingly grubby. Yes, and that's what lens protectors are for, getting grubby. Anyway, 2 more screws. Try not to drop the screw down into the lens this time. There we go. 1 subassembly with grubby lens fungus inside it. Oh yeah, and there's this thing. I was like, what the heck is that? Where did that come from? And fortunately there's another one. You can see it still sitting there. It wouldn't move, so I just popped it down. Don't worry about it later. Anyway, mixing chemicals, nothing blew up. This is good. Put the lens assembly in there because I couldn't get it apart, and so I thought I'll just chuck the whole thing in there and hope it doesn't leak, and it didn't. And so now we're sped up a bit, and you can see all the bubbles. That's the solution removing the fungus from the outside of the lens. And as you can see, it looks a proper mess there. So we chucked it in tissue to dry it off a bit, and pointed a hairdryer at it to dry it some more, which immediately made it fog up, so it wasn't probably quite as waterproof as I was hoping it would be. And there's still fungus on the inside. You can see it on the edge there. I mean, there's less than there was. Yes, less than there was. So the next morning when I woke up, lo and behold, everything looked crystal clear. Well, maybe not crystal clear, but a lot clearer than it was. So I decided, seeing I couldn't get the lens out, or couldn't figure out how to get the lens out, I was going to put the thing back together and see what it actually looked like, see whether it was good enough. And so then there came the putting everything back together without dropping bits down into the lens, which was fun. And oh yes, there I go, I dropped a screw. Fortunately it didn't go very far. Set it into the nice big cavity right beside it. That would have been a bit worse, so I decided it would be easier to just put 1 screw in the hole as I drop this subassembly onto its posi, and then put the other screws in. Once I got those in, it was just a case of screwing it all back together. Getting these in was tricky because you've got to line it up exactly right, otherwise the ribbon cable won't go back in. So I had a couple of goes at that. Here's a successful attempt. There it is. Got the corner. Yes, yes, yes. Click. Then it's just a case of getting the 4 screws back into the camera, and I was very glad to find that there were no parts left over after all that. And there it is. Here it is on a camera, some before and after shots, and another lens just to compare. So as you can see, it's a bit better, but still not as good as the lens with no fungus. So I think there's still probably a bit of fungus inside there. So it's not perfect, but it is usable.